Hello boys, welcome back to another session of online video biology tutorials. And this session is meant for class 12th biology students, and this is for 6th July 2021. As we all know that we were discussing and deliberating upon chapter number 3, human reproduction. In that, yesterday's class we had discussion about male reproductive system. Today in this session we are going to see the anatomy, physiology, biochemistry part of female reproductive system. As I have told you, the purpose of introducing this chapter to you is to make you more educated. This is not to laugh. This is not for criticizing or making a joker of yourself. This is a scientific way of studying our own systems, so that whatever myths we have, whatever disbeliefs we have, whatever negative thinking we have got, this discussion of the chapter will make us to forget all this and be more scientific towards it. So with that background, making the purpose of this chapter very clear, I move ahead with female reproductive system. So in this, like in male reproductive system, female reproductive system also has got three main parts. One is a paired ovaries. Paired ovaries. Ovaries are the gonads, female reproductive organs. So you can see the presence of gonads, okay, right, left side one, right side one, and then followed by accessory ducts. That means tube-like structures which are associated with the female reproductive system. They are three: a pair of oviducts or fallopian tubes, one uterus, bag-like structure, and one vagina, a tunnel-like structure. And then associated with these two parts, third part is external genitalia, the one that is seen outside, that is morphology. Morphologically they are present. So the external genitalia consists of man's pubis, vestibule, hymen, and clitoris. Okay, let's study about this. So starting with the gonads, that is female reproductive organs. They are in a female ovaries, and as we said, there will be a pair of ovaries, right side one, left side one. You can see here they are situated in the abdominal cavity, whereas the male gonads are situated outside the abdominal cavity in a bag-like structure called scutellum, we said. Okay, scrotum, we said, scrotum. Whereas here it is situated inside the abdominal cavity, right? So primary sex organs, ovaries are the primary sex organs which produce ova, plural, ovum, singular, female gamete, female reproductive organ or female sex cell. It is a steroid ovarian hormones. So associated with this, they secrete two sex hormones, female sex hormones or female reproductive hormones. They are estrogen and progesterone. These two hormones are female sex hormones. Each ovary is about 2 to 4 centimeters in length. As you are able to see, they are located on both sides of the lower abdomen and connected to the pelvic wall and uterus by ligaments. You can see here there is a connection between the uterus and the ovarian duct. You can see here, and this attachment is through ligaments. Okay, you can see here also presence of ligaments very much. Okay, you can see the expansion of that ligaments. And each ovary is covered by a thin epithelium which encloses the ovarian stroma. So you can see when we take the vertical section of the ovary, we can see here various inner parts of that. So we say anatomy of the ovary. So here you can see the entire ovary is covered with layers, outside layers, and then inside you can see the formation of various follicles. You can see presence of primary follicles, and the follicles will grow and become big, and then the follicles get matured, formation of egg cell takes place, and then a mature follicle on maturity will blast off, release egg cell, and ovulation takes place, release of functional ovum from ovary to outside, that is ovulation. And then once the ovum is out, whatever layers are left out, that is called the empty follicle. That empty follicle is technically known as corpus luteum. And then in due course, corpus luteum gets dissolved, regression takes place. So these are the major changes that take place under the influence of both the female sex hormones, progesterone and estrogen. So there is a stroma, ovarian stroma. The stroma has outer cortex and inner medulla. So this is medulla, this is cortex. Ovary contains group of cells. Those are ovarian follicles or Graafian follicles. Each follicle carries a centrally placed ovum, as we discussed. Look at this, the formation of ovum or egg cell. The centrally it is present, it's moving out for the ovulation. And then the accessory ducts, the tube-like structures which we said, there are three. First one is the fallopian tube or oviduct. This entire thing is the fallopian tube. This is right one and this is the left one. See, that means a pair of fallopian tubes are there. And then uterus, this bag-like structure, this structure is the uterus, muscular bag-like structure. And then of course there is a tunnel, a muscular canal, which is called vagina. So again, you need to practice these diagrams, this vertical section of the female reproductive system, and label each one and try to understand the importance or significance of each label, right? Continuing our discussion, oviducts or fallopian tube. Each oviduct is 10 to 12 centimeters long. This length is 10 to 12 centimeters. It has three parts. First one is the infundibulum, which has got finger-like structures, fimbriae, that helps in absorbing the ovum. The ovum that is released from the ovary due to ovulation will be absorbed by the finger-like structures of infundibulum. And then you have got ampulla, a wider tube-like structure, and then you have got isthmus, a narrow tube-like structure. And infundibulum, it's a funnel-shaped one, opening with many finger-like fimbriae. It helps in collecting the ovum or absorbing the ovum. Ampulla is a wider part of the tube. Isthmus is a narrow part. It joins the uterus, as you are seeing. And the most significance of this is the fertilization takes place in this area. So we say ampullary isthmus junction. So that is the important. Where does exactly fertilization takes place? Ampullary isthmus junction, AIJ. Remember this. The place or location of fertilization that takes place means in this area union or fusion of sperm and ovum will take place, resulting in the formation of zygote. So that is the significance of ampullary isthmus junction. Continuing, uterus, it's normally in normal language we call it womb. This area, this bag-like muscular structure, okay, and this, it is inverted pear-shaped, as you are seeing. It is supported by many ligaments attached to pelvic wall, as we discussed previously. It has three parts. One is the fundus, okay, and second one is the middle body, and the third one is the cervix. So this is the fundus part of it, and this is the middle portion of it, and this is last one is the cervix, okay, last portion of it. The cervix opens into vagina, and uterine wall has three layers. Outer external layer is called perimetrium, this one, perimetrium, and the inner one, middle one, a thick layer with the smooth muscles, that's myometrium, and the inner one is glandular vascular tissue, endometrium, and endometrium plays very significant role during fertilization. And the third one, the duct, is the vagina part of it, this one. So this is also a muscular one. You can see here it is connected. It opens to exterior between urethra and anus. So you got this area, it is getting opened externally. The lumen of vagina is lined by glycogen-rich mucous membrane, this one, and consisting of sensitive papillae and Bartholin's glands. So there is a presence of Bartholin's glands. The secretions of Bartholin's glands lubricate penis during sexual act. That is the purpose of the presence of Bartholin's glands. And then the external genitalia, it consists of what we see. External means morphology. Morphologically we can see this. That is the mons pubis, vestibule, hymen, and clitoris. Now mons pubis, this one, mons pubis, it is the cushion of fatty tissue covered by pubic hair. And vestibule, on the other hand, it is a median channel. It includes labia majora, this one, the labia majora, large, fleshy, fatty, and hairy outer folds surrounds vaginal opening. And labia minora, this one, this is the small, thin, and hairless inner folds. These are the coverings of the vagina. And hymen, it's the maiden head, a membrane which partially covers the vaginal opening, that is the maiden head or hymen, and it is often torn during the first coitus. Okay, this is a small thin layer. During the first coitus, it gets torn, but not necessarily. Nowadays, the latest scientific evidence says that even if it is maybe a girl cycles fast, or maybe she is a sports personality, actively participate in game, all this will make this hymen layer to be torn. So hymen may also be broken by a sudden fall or jolt, insertion of vaginal tampon, active participation in some sports items, etc. In some women, hymen persists even after coitus, so the hymen is not a reliable indicator of virginity. Again, there are a lot of myths about this, that's why you should know. And then the clitoris part of it, this portion, the highly sensitive organ lying just in front of the urethral opening. Now, on the other hand, externally again, the mammary glands, this is a breast. A pair of mammary glands contain glandular tissue and fat. A lot of fat will be present in this. And glandular tissue of each breast has 15 to 20 mammary lobes. So these are all the mammary lobes, 15 to 20. And they contain clusters of cells called mammary alveoli. These are the alveoli, these are the clusters. The cells of alveoli secrete milk. It is shared in the cavities, that is lumen of alveoli. So the purpose of this is to feed the child, baby. The alveoli open into mammary tubules. You can see all the alveoli are joining together and opening into the mammary tubule. The tubules of each lobe join to form a mammary duct. This one, see, you can see the formation of mammary ducts, 1, 2, 3, like this. Okay, all of them join together. Several mammary ducts join to form a wider mammary ampulla. Okay, and this is connected to mammary ampulla is connected to lactiferous duct. This is the lactiferous duct, and through which milk is secreted out. So sequence of milk conduction, there will be mammary alveoli, they join together form mammary tubule, and join together form a mammary duct, and mammary ducts join together form a mammary ampulla, and finally a lactiferous duct through which the secretion, it opens up in the nipples. So this is how a mother feeds the breast milk to the baby. So let's see in the next session how exactly the functional gamete, that is female reproductive cell ovum is released.